Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. I watched this video last night by Joseph Morris, who's basically talking about the Jay Slater case, him missing. And there's something shocking which has come up to say that Jay Slater disappearance is linked to disturbing criminal network, a boat kidnapping. CCTV emerges. It's quite odd, very, very, very odd. I'll play the video and I will stop sometimes to see the basically and make a comment on it. Let's get straight into it.
That people think might be related to this. And my mate who knows this area very well says this footage is definitely 100% taken from the area that these people were staying in. We can't verify whether it was them there, what time it was taken, but we know it's the area. Now, someone has annotated this and said that one person is Jay, one person is Lucy. We don't know if this is true, but we'll watch it anyway. Now, that could be a lot of things. That could not be related to Jay and Lucy and these people at all. Or it could be that Jay was trying to sell the watch and someone stabbed him, or that he was going to give the watch back and someone stabbed him. It could be all sorts of things. But I do think it's important to include it at this time.
And everybody thought that Lucy May, Jay's friend, knew more than what she was saying. And this CCTV footage that is confirmed real, where she's freaking out over something that happened with Jay, along with the text messages that were leaked just yesterday, it's really starting to look that way, doesn't it? Theory from an anonymous account has recently gone viral in the past couple days.
Jay Slater assaulted Tom Hilton really badly with a gang of lads. Tom Hilton's dad could never let this drop, even though his son demanded let things just be. Jay would often brag about the assault every time he was out and about in Rishton. This upset some friends that both Tom and Jay shared. A friend of Tom's dad who was in prison heard about the assault. His name was Ayub Qasim. Ayub is a notorious gang member and drug dealer. He has big connections and promised he would get vengeance for Tom. Whilst in prison, Ayub...
Wow. Is there a connection between Ayub and Tom Hilton's dad? That's a possibility. It seems like they've come across each other or know each other, and they wanted to get, Tom's dad may have wanted to get vengeance back on what happened to his son Tom. In some ways it makes sense. You know, it's a weird situation, because why did Jay leave Asap's place, the basically rented accommodation they were staying at? He felt scared, nervous, and he wanted to get out of there. Was somebody chasing him? This story also makes sense as well. When I first heard it, it sounds a bit far-fetched, but when you realise there's a connection between Tom Hilton's dad and Ayub, it makes sense.
masterminded a perfect plan for when he was released and recruited a team of people and enticed them with big money, some of who were very close to Jay and in his trust circle. Ayub was released and wanted the revenge to take place at an event such as a concert or a festival where plenty of witnesses would be. Ayub, his friend, Lucy, Brad, and 2 other men were involved in the plan. Part 1 of the plan was that over the next few days, get Jay absolutely wrecked on whatever was available and fill him with free drinks. Ayub and his friend would befriend the group and build massive trust with Jay, complimenting him and laughing at his jokes. Lucy and Brad would have to act like they never knew Ayub. Part 2, the night in question, Lucy would get Jay wrecked, then leave the venue early, getting as much attention as she could, and making sure enough people seen her go home. Then she would post Snapchats of herself stating, "early night," to leave a paper trail. Ayub and friends would then cause a distraction outside the venue and throw a fake Rolex watch to the floor supplied by Ayub. Ayub and his friend would encourage Jay to grab the watch. Then Brad would say he's heard rumours, it's an Albanian gangster's watch, and Jay needs to leave ASAP as they're searching for him. Meanwhile, the other two unknown men who also hired a second car have stolen a boat. Ayub, his friend and Jay all jump in the pre-hired car whilst Brad leaves and informs the other two men that they are on their way. In the car, Ayub instructs Jay to take images of the watch on his phone and show his friends back home, making him brag that he stole a watch. Foolishly, Jay does this.
This is like ChatGPT for your meetings. Watch this. I can ask Otter AI.
The two guys with the stolen boat have to delay things as the police are coasting the area for an unrelated issue. They tell Ayub to chill somewhere for a few hours until the dust settles. With nowhere to go, Ayub decides to hire an Airbnb, but uses an alias name of Ayub Abdul and then heads straight there. It's an hour's drive away and he only books it for 2 hours, which raises suspicions. Once there, he waits for the signal of all clear from the boat boys. He then tells Jay that...
But he didn't book it for 2 hours, did he? Because... I know they got back pretty late at the end of the day. It must have been like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning at the end of the day. But what Ayub said was that I would give Jay a lift home in the morning when I was fresh. So it had to be more than a few hours. I can understand the storyline at the end of the day, but I think that Ayub had booked in maybe that day or the day before. Just say this, that morning, basically the morning before he booked in to leave his stuff there and his mate. This is what I think.
The Albanian gangsters are tracking Jay's phone and convinces him to give the phone to Ayub. He tells Jay that he will drive the phone in an opposite direction to confuse the gangsters and that it's unsafe for Jay to travel with them, but not to worry as they will come back for him. He then tells Jay to knock on a random door and ask for directions, but once given directions to start walking uphill in the opposite direction and they will come back for him. He said this is in case the gangsters ask locals if they have seen Jay. Ayub and his friend leave the Airbnb and set off back home. Once back where they are originally staying, they desperately gain attention on purpose to place them in the right place at the right time. They then instruct the boatmen with a burner phone to collect Jay and finish the job. Jay is collected and placed on the boat. Ayub gives Jay's phone to Brad, who then makes fictional calls to himself and Lucy, and also Snapchats with photos from Jay's gallery to friends back home. The phone then is taken to the hills, turned off and destroyed. Everyone returns home. They think they have committed the perfect crime. The 30k GoFundMe was a distraction, as was the watch. This was a long-awaited, well-planned revenge attack, but hiring the Airbnb was not in the original plan. Is that their downfall?
Yeah, and to me, parts of this sort of add up. I don't necessarily believe that Ayub would commit a crime on behalf of this person named Tom's dad to enact revenge, but it is sort of interesting that in 2021, Jay Slater was a part of a gang who attacked a man named Tom Hilton who survived, and this anonymous account believes that Tom, or Tom's dad, might have been trying to get his revenge by getting Ayub to do that for him, and also, you know, Jay's friends. So it sounds to me like this theory goes that they got Jay so out of his mind at the NRG Music Festival by plying him with copious amounts of substances so that they can get his guard down and kind of kidnap him to get his revenge and take him away on a boat. And if I do some digging here, there was a boat from West Africa that took off an hour after Jay was last seen, about 5 kilometers away from the area he disappeared. So you can...
That's odd. That really odd. There's the map as well, which Joseph Morris have put up. It sounds far-fetched, but when you actually look at it, the same day or that, you know, that morning, it's just off-key. how, this story could be correct. At the end of the day, if things had gone wrong for Jay, you could actually see this story is true. At the end of the day, it's madness. It's absolutely crazy. At the end of the day, had Jay been selling drugs for someone and taken them and lost them and owed a lot of money, but you would have thought that if he was wheeling dealing for someone, they would want him to make that money back. They'd get rid of him, especially being a UK citizen at the end of the day. But a lot of people have gone missing in that area.
You can see here in pink where that boat disappeared from, and it's exactly the area Jay vanished about an hour after his final phone call to Lucy. So this boat turned off its location immediately after departing. And someone actually tracked down the CCTV footage from that area and saw a group of men with flashlights or torches on the dock. Then a car pulls up and they appear to take something out of the car, and a gang of them run into the boat together. So people are wondering if this gang may be the group of criminals that took Jay. And a TikTok has gone viral of someone photoshopping blue light onto the steps of the Airbnb Jay was last seen at. So the steps where Jay was last standing were freshly painted. And if you put blue light filter over them, you can see that there looks like to be almost blood spots and smears of blood. And in the final Snapchat itself, you can see what looks like blood dripping all over the steps. And again, someone manipulated the colors a bit, and it really does look like the color of like blood splatter. And a journalist actually went back to the steps and took a photo of the exact location Jay was standing at. And
that's very odd that they were painted over, but you would have thought the police would have investigated that. It could be anything, to be honest with you. It really, really could. And I'm sure if it was blood, basically Ayup and his friends who were there, a friend who were there, and Jay, that would have been investigated straight away. So I'm going to dismiss that at the end of the day, because I think that's a little bit far-fetched at the end of the day. If the police had said, look, there were blood on that, blood on the doorstep, we can verify it, then that's fair enough. But I just think that that's just on the internet at the end of the day. That's a little bit over the top for me. I want facts on that.
The blood splatter was gone. So that theory actually kind of lines up with the fact that maybe he was brought back to that B&B and sort of a scuffle occurred and they took him away in a boat. What do you guys think of these recent developments? What do you think of the Spanish police saying that he's no longer considered a missing or endangered person? They possibly know that he is alive somewhere in Kidnap. Sound off in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe by hitting my face here.
Yeah, it's a good story. I just want to look at some of the comments in this. Lucy knows everything. She knows who killed Jay because she was there. Lucy and Brad are guilty and up to their necks with their bosses. Too much media, they might be swimming with the fishes next. The British police need to talk to Lucy and Brad as soon as possible. Jay's a British citizen. Listening to it, I find it incredible that Jay's mother describes them as a normal family. Not in my books, it isn't. Well, she's going to say that, isn't she? Lucy went home early. How did she know he went off with these two guys? She was obviously speaking to the new guys. I knew them before. I think they met up a few days before. Something's not right in Lucy's stories. One thing is beyond a doubt, Jay's not in those mountains. I don't think he is either. If this is a revenge for the assault on the boy in the UK, but why would it take so many years to do that in the UK? There's also revenge attacks on the other 7 members of that gang. I think the story is a bit too far-fetched. Yeah, I do think it's far-fetched, but the kidnapping, the kidnapping at the end of the day by a gang, that's a possibility. Good to know we have Terry Tibbs on the case. The screaming footage is pretty terrifying if it's legit. Answer still with Lucy, in my opinions. Yeah, I agree. I'm sorry, but what a load of complete rubbish, honestly. This is embarrassingly delusional. It sounds far-fetched, but I can see how it can be true. I'm not convinced by this. Why go to all that trouble and expense to lure Jay to turn if they could easily have carried out the revenge in the UK? Yeah, but I know it could be, but the remote area, not too many cameras about. So we've got like 50-50 on this at the end of the day. But the kidnapping thing, that wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. Let me know what you think about the kidnap. I do think basically the revenge is a little bit far-fetched. I don't think Tom Hilton's dad would want to go that far, but you just never know these days. At the end of the day, it's again something that people are talking about. Kidnapping, both kidnapping, then yes, it is very, very confusing, completely confusing what's happened to Jay. Does he want to be found? It just doesn't look like it. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment, and please let me know, is any of these, the kidnapping, the attack on Tom Hilton, is this Tom Hilton's dad got something to do with it, or is the evidence with his friends at the end of the day, and also Abe, does he know more than what he's actually told us? Maybe we will never know, or maybe will something come out soon that will help the family out at the end of the day, because it is terrifying when someone goes missing. I must admit, if it was my daughter, at the end of the day, it would be heart-wrenching. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment and follow the channel. And please let me know what you think really has happened to Jay, and who holds the cards in finding him, or knows more than what they're letting on. Thank you.